All right. Well, welcome to Pup Theology. It's another week, another Wednesday. I'm with two good friends of mine that we've met for the past few years. First, we have Imam Mustafa. How are you?
I'm well, thank you, Gavin.
Not only is he a great clergy leader here in San Antonio, he's also, you're on the advisory board for Corazon Ministries, which is our homeless ministry through Travis Park Church. And we're always grateful for your service at Corazon. And I'm with my good friend Mehmet. Mehmet is part of the Raindrop Turkish House. Well, they're both part of the Raindrop Turkish House. But Mehmet has been a very active member. Both of them have been a very active member of the community and also interfaith relations here in San Antonio. And tonight we have a special Pup Theology where we are having a discussion not only about Ramadan and the Iftar meal of breaking the sunset fast. We are also going to be sharing in an online meal together at sunset, which I believe, if I'm not mistaken, is at 8:13 p.m. tonight. So right after the...
It's a little bit more today. It's shifting 1-2 minutes. Is around 8:20.
8:20, that's fine. Yeah. All right, so after the prayer, we'll then break bread, and we're going to bring all of our Zoom participants in during that time. If you're watching on Facebook or Zoom, you can ask questions about Ramadan or the meal or the fast or really anything, any question you have for these two leaders in San Antonio. You can ask that on the Zoom chat, and we will find that and pop you up there if you're on Zoom. If you have a question on Facebook and you're watching us on our Facebook page, you can post that in the Facebook comments and we'll catch that and ask. So that's what's going on. Thank you for joining us. Again, this is Pup Theology. We're having a great discussion about Ramadan. And that's been happening for now a few weeks. And then at sunset, which is around 8:20 now, we will break the fast. And I'm with Imam Mustafa from the Raindrop Turkish House, along with Mehmet, who is a great lay leader there as well, and also very active in all things interfaith. If there's an interfaith event in San Antonio, sometimes you'll see me, sometimes you'll see my head pastor Eric, who's watching now. But every time you'll see Mehmet. He's at more interfaith events contributing to the good of San Antonio than any leader I know involved in that. And so Mehmet, thank you for always being there. Where are you right now, Mehmet?
At home. So I'm supposed to be at home. So still stay at home.
Yeah, you're supposed to stay at home. I mean, that's good.
Yeah.
I was saying, like, where in your house, or you're in your kitchen area?
No, it's our living room.
Nice.
So behind me. So when it's Ramadan or it's a gathering, thanks to my wife, she is always decorating the home. Now this is our Ramadan decoration. So
nice.
Ramadan Mubarak, some lights.
That's right, and that pretty much translates into Happy Ramadan. Is that the correct translation?
Yes.
I know there's different ways to say it other than Mubarak. There's other words that people use, and we'll talk about that. Mustafa, where are you? Where are you right now?
I actually am in my little apartment in my dining area. This computer sits on my dining table. Behind me is my long overlooked library now. I had a little touch, and that kind of looks better, I hope.
No, that's great. I am grateful for this amazing studio that I'm in at Arsenal Church, which is in Southtown, run by our good friend, Pastor Chad, who was a guest last week, which reminds me, if you want to go back and watch any of our last maybe 7 or 8 Pup Theologies, we've been going online because we're social distancing. We normally meet at the Friendly Spot Ice House, which is also in Southtown. And right now I'm wearing their shirt again, Defend Friends, right? The Friendly Spot. We believe everybody's a friend here at Pup Theology, and especially at the Friendly Spot. So we want to support them, especially during this time. You can go there Wednesday through Sunday in the evenings and get a to-go meal and anything you want from the Friendly Spot. Support local because it's tough times right now. So thank you, Friendly Spot, for always being there for you, but for us. And we can't wait to be back whenever that is. And maybe we'll be online there from now on. This online thing has been really, really good for many people who can't always catch Pup Theology in person. So the last few weeks, we've had Rabbi Samuel Stahl, and Pastor Max Licato. We've had great discussions with Dr. Colleen Bridger from the city of San Antonio and Dr. and Reverend Dr. Kenneth Kemp. We've had great discussions with reporters in town covering COVID. We've had other clergy. So you can check out all of our past Pup Theologies. online on our Facebook page and YouTube. And next week, we will just announce, soon to be announced, that we'll be interviewing the president of Trinity University, Dr. Danny Anderson, along with the board chair, Patty Radel of SISD. We're going to be talking about education with Emily Donaldson, who's the education reporter at the Rivard Report, along with my co-host, Becky McNeil, who's here often. And they're going to be talking about all things education in COVID. And so we'll have great educational leaders discussing how they are moving forward, both at the collegiate level and also at the school districts all around San Antonio. So that's next week. So enough with that. Again, we're with Imam Mustafa and Mehmet from the Raindrop Turkish house, and we're going to be talking about Ramadan. So first, and I'll let anybody answer this who feels, well, first ask the Imam. Tell us a little bit about Ramadan and where the holiday and the tradition, the sacredness of Ramadan comes from.
Sure. Well, thank you for inviting me, Pastor Gavin Rogers. This is my second time at the Pop Theology. First time being the real face-to-face, and this is, the virtual one.
Yeah, hey, it's good.
It's good. It's good. I'm liking it. Thank you again. Well, Ramadan is a special time for Muslims all over the world. For it's inviting us to really getting close to God through fasting, worship, reciting the Quran, and things like that. So it's a special time, like an annual spiritual tune-up, so to speak, for, many, many Muslims. So the importance is that it is something that God mentions in the Quran for Muslims, saying that, you need to fast. So that's what we're doing. In a nutshell, that's what Ramadan is.
Well, thank you for that. And Mehmet, tell me a little bit about your take on Ramadan and what it really means for your family. What are the daily exercises for Ramadan for you and your family?
Okay, first, let me thank you to having us tonight. And thank you for all of your compliments. And I want to say something about interfaith dialogue. It's just a two-way. It's like shaking hand. I won't be able to shake my hand in the air if someone else is not giving the hand to me. So it's two-way. Yes, I involved to the interfaith dialogue. It's because we have a lot of good friends in San Antonio. They believe that we have to do something together for a better future, for our kids, for our society. And for the Ramadan, I don't know it's good or not, so it's really too early to say something about this pandemic. But for the Ramadan, we are at home. We are spending time with our kids. Usually, we have to go work. And then it makes it really hard when you go to work. Now we can work from home. So we have done a meal, an early breakfast, like at 5 a.m. We have our breakfast or whatever you have left from the night before. You can eat it. There's not a special meal that you eat at the suhur. So during the day, I'm working. Kids, they have school, of course, at home. And then when it approaching to the praying times, so we have 5 daily prayers. We are trying to do all of the prayers at home and as a congregation. So it's a small congregation. Myself, I am leading, and my daughters, my wife, we try to pray together. And we all try to read Quran during the day as far as our duties allow us. But after 5, if my daughter, she's fasting, she is done because she doesn't have more energy, so she is playing. So my 5 years, she's 10 years old, and my 5 years old, she is fasting last 15 minutes. She said, okay, I am fasting. It's my time. But, and when it gets close to the breaking fast, my wife, she's preparing the meal, and I'm trying to help her, my daughter as well. And we sit and eat together. It's really interesting for me. It's the same for Imam Mustafa as well. Last 5 years, maybe 5, not more than 5 times I had breaking fast with my family. What we did, we were always at the Raindrop or in one of our friends' place, in a church, in a synagogue, and we break the fast together. So I guess I'm going to cover up all of the years that we missed with the families this year.
Wow, that's true. This pandemic has obviously adjusted a lot of ways the faith communities have met in person. Not only did it affect our brothers and sisters in the Jewish tradition during the Seder meals, right? And people had to do online Seders. It's kind of a similar thing here, and sharing a meal with each other. And you always are gracious. The Raindrop Turkish House Foundation has always invited different parishes and churches and congregations from all faiths to participate in usually the evening meal at their center, which is located just north of 410. And now you're not able to do that. So this is kind of an opportunity where a lot of us in the interfaith community are hopefully participating right now in person. And I know you're also doing this nationally. Different groups are meeting nationally every day and hearing from a speaker and also sharing a meal together. I think you're missing one today just to be with us right now. So we're grateful.
San Antonio is more important for me than the national one.
Okay, good. Well, San Antonio is great. All right. Well, thank you for being here with us. Again, if you're watching us on Facebook Live or on Zoom, we're talking with Imam Mustafa and Mehmet from the Raindrop Turkish House. We're going to be discussing Ramadan and the Iftar meal and all things that you have questions for about them. And then around 8:20 at sunset, we'll join everybody in on Zoom and have a shared meal together. If you have any questions, you can post them on our chat below and on Zoom, if you're watching this on Zoom, or you can post on our Facebook feed and on the online Facebook Live. And you can also ask questions there, and we'll try to get those questions to our respected guests tonight. So I see that Pastor Eric loves your Curious George book there. Imam, there it is right there. It's the heavy reading that the Imam does every night.
So true.
So Mustafa, how long have you now been here with us? You've been the Imam now, the lead Imam. How many, maybe a year now at the Raindrop Turkish House?
I've been living in San Antonio for about 13 years.
Yeah.
And it was about 2007 when I came. And then by 2008, we were able to open that center. And from the beginning of that, I am around. I sometimes was just leading the prayers in the Turkish center, Raindrop House, like you're saying.
Yeah.
But then over the years, my kind of focus changed to the Bexar County Detention Center, especially on Fridays that I would go. And I still was actually right before the coronavirus pandemic. So I would lead the prayers there. But for the center, still though I am involved and I'm in the board, I am, Imam in the, I guess, modern sense, in the traditional sense or the original sense. If you're saying that you're an Imam, typically you are the leader of a congregation in a mosque setting, which is not the case for me. So therefore, I was just saying that I am an Imam, especially for the Bexar County Detention Center.
Gotcha. That's your official congregation, you could say.
You can say that, yes.
Gotcha.
Yes.
That's great work, and I hope
Thank
everybody's staying safe. It's a dicey place right now.
It is.
And so I hope everybody's safe, and our prayers are with the people in the detention centers and all places incarceration and around the world, really. Well, guys, do you have any questions? We'll see if we have any questions here from our panelists a little bit. Now, tell us a little bit about the tradition of the fast. I know there's a morning meal and the afternoon meal. So tell us a little bit about those meals and how they correlate with the daily practice of fasting.
So if you want to fast real easy, it's better for you to eat something, around dawn time or before that. That way you sustain yourself. Of course, hydrating yourself is very important too. But this tradition is skipped by many people who are just saying that it's just too hard to, get up and do that. So it's okay. They choose to do that. So that pre-dawn meal, that breakfast, early breakfast is important, but people can again skip. And then that's all you have. The calorie intake, the hydration, and all that. That's all you have. And then you get yourself all the way to the fast breaking dinner at sunset, which is the real deal, the real meal. Although over time, your stomach is kind of like shrinking, you're not able to eat a lot unless you really can't stop yourself from, enjoying all those blessings on the table. So, but the purpose is for you to really kind of keep yourself in tune with the spirit of Ramadan, which is not really necessarily eating a lot. So that meal is important. Typically, I mean, you get like good calories with what you're eating. You want to drink your water too, but then from that time on, from sunset, you go into basically, nighttime binging, I guess, as sometimes, people do, like a normal day, even without Ramadan. But yeah, so in between, you're not eating or drinking anything, and you are to really, focus on yourself and your relationship with God.
No, that's great. And tell us a little bit about the different names that we'll hear. There's different names to say Ramadan, especially when people are saying Happy Ramadan or something. So there's behind you again. We'll behind you, Mehmet. There is the saying right there. Can you show people again?
It says Ramadan Mubarak.
Mubarak. And then that's the most traditional way to celebrate and say you're celebrating Ramadan.
Yeah, but most of the people, they know it. So it's different meanings. So Ramadan is sacred, or you can use Happy Ramadan, whichever is easy. But most of the people, they know Happy Ramadan or Ramadan Kareem. So Kareem means great, Ramadan is great, or Ramadan is sacred.
Sure.
Right. So, Ramadan Mubarak is may your Ramadan be blessed or blessed, or just blessed Ramadan. So you do that when you, like if I were to greet a Muslim, I would say, Ramadan Mubarak. And then as an answer, he would give me Ramadan Kareem. Typically, that's how people respond. That is, Ramadan Kareem is like good, generous, and all that's like a broad meaning. But basically, response is you saying Ramadan Mubarak, and then you get Ramadan Kareem. That's how you, so to speak, greet each other.
So that was my question: is Ramadan Kareem? So that's a little bit different, but that's like the second part of the greeting.
Right. So yeah, if I
am I getting that right?
If I say Ramadan Mubarak, then you tell me what?
Ramadan Kareem.
There you go.
All right, got it.
You got it.
Because I saw a few times on people's posts where they start with Ramadan Kareem. They'll just say that to begin with, but that's just kind of it's not necessarily wrong, but it's supposed to be like the secondary response.
Right.
Not that it's probably the most important thing in the world when you compare the thing of the whole sacred act of fasting. But
yeah, right.
It's good to know these things.
You want to say something to a Muslim when your fellow Muslim when you see them. So that's, normally you have like assalamu alaikum, right? Peace be upon you. And then the answer is wa alaikum salam, peace be upon you too. But in Ramadan, of course you still say that, but typically you want to say a little something, and that's Ramadan Kareem or Ramadan Mubarak. And they can be used interchangeably as well.
Nice. Well, let me look to see on Facebook here if we have anybody that has questions. And we have a few people who are trying to get online. Ann Helmke is online now. So Ann, our great leader for the Interfaith group, is here. We'll bring her on in a second. We can do that.
Sure.
And we'll bring her on here in a second. So Ann, we're giving you a few minutes to ask a question. And we'll check here on Facebook. Again, if you're with us on Facebook, you can ask a question, and we'll see if anybody is doing so at this time. Because we're on Zoom right now, I got to toggle between two different things. But
Gavin, if you allow me to share my screen, there's
yes, please do. You wanted to do that. That was a perfect time to do it.
Let me show this short video, and it might answer some of the questions. And if it doesn't cover, so I can answer the easy questions, and Imam Mustafa can answer the hard one.
Great.
2 minutes, right? 2-3 minutes or something.
Yeah, it's 2 minutes 18 seconds.
Great. Let's see if it works. Let's pull it up, and I'll put it on speaker view so we can see it. There it is. All right. That was great. Thank you so much for that. It was
Yeah, but it was made by our friends in United Kingdom. I asked permission to change with our information, but they haven't responded yet.
no, that's good. I really appreciate that. We do have a few questions from our panelists here, and the first question is: do you break the fast with any particular food? That comes from Kelly. Thank you for that.
There is not really any particular food except the customs of your, family or, nation. But typically dates are customary. You can break your fast with dates, which was the most common food for, Arabs then, the, like a 7th century. So therefore, we have that custom, and that's the most common, I think, item that I can say. But for some, though, they look, it is all different. For some folks, they start eating and then they go all the way. Takes about like 20 minutes or 30 minutes or more. But typically, though, you also see Muslims, they break the fast with dates and some water, and then possibly some little desserts or some sweets, maybe some soup or something. And then they get up to pray about 5-10 minutes, and then they come back to continue eating. But as for the food staple, typically that's what I see, the dates.
No, that's good. Yeah, and so really anybody, I mean, there's not a really traditional food necessarily, so you can break the fast with any type of food. I think, remember, Mehmet, when we were planning this, you were like, "We're going to cook enchiladas," and I was like, "What?"
Yes.
And he was like, "Yeah, you don't have to do anything that traditional." Although I hope some people did. I think a few people went to the Turkish grill to get some of the traditional meals that might, or a lot of families might partake in a traditional setting. So thank you for the Turkish grill for doing that for some of our guests. I have a meal cooked by the family of Mehmet, and I can't wait to eat that in about 50 minutes. So. Another question here.
My family, they will join us close to the call to prayer. Now, kids are busy with watching something. We have to keep them busy till meal. And my wife, she is reading Quran.
Oh, that's great. Which we should all be doing, something like that instead of probably chatting online. But we're glad that she is faithful. All right, another question here from one of our listeners is, could one of the panelists explain the significance of Ramadan to faithful Muslims? And we'll add another text I got, and the very origin of Ramadan in the life of Muhammad.
Should I take that, Mehmet?
Yeah, I can start, you can continue, or...
I'm not going to pick between you. Y'all can.
Okay, so fasting was prescribed the nations before the Muslims. It's as mentioned in the Quran, and Ramadan is one of the holy months in the lunar calendar. So the fasting tradition didn't start with the Muslims. It was in the Jewish tradition. It was in the Christian tradition as well.
Oh yeah, okay, that's true. And Imam, can you add to that?
Sure. It was the second year of emigration to Medina that fasting was prescribed to Muslims. So for Arabs, though, fasting was something typically like a day or two or something to ward off evil or to please their idols. So the fasting concept was there for them. But when Islam came and when the Quran said, well, now it's time for you to fast, which we have the second chapter, verse 183, and then 4 and 5 talks about that. So the origins is that when the Quran said, well, now the fasting was prescribed to you now as it was before the nations before you. So this is for you to get closer to God. So the idea came from God that speaks in the Quran to Muslims. And Prophet Muhammad just, of course, mentions that. So therefore, this is an injunction from God to Muslims saying that we got to fast for a month if we are able, sane, healthy, and all that. So therefore, that was the case. And then, of course, there's many details about Ramadan. If you are traveling, you're sick or something, then you're exempt, or you get to fast in other times. But yes, that's the beginning. Or let me say a few words about the word Ramadan, which comes from Ramad or Ramda in Arabic, signifying scorching heat or intense, an object that was intensely, heated. So therefore, apparently, they did name this month Ramadan that time when so two opinions. First, when they named this month, it was Ramadan. It was that, scorching, intense heat of the sun, in Mecca, Medina. It's really hot over there. So one opinion says that was the reason why this month was called Ramadan. Another is that they say it's called Ramadan because it signifies the burning of the sins. By fasting in Ramadan, your sins are wiped out by you doing the fasting.
So also there is a prophetic saying, hadith, and in this hadith, Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon to him, he said, Allah said, all the deeds of Adam's son are for them, except fasting, which is for me, and I will give the reward for it. There are two different pleasures for the fasting person, one at the time of breaking his fast, and the other at the time when he will meet his Lord. Then he will be pleased because of his fasting.
Oh, that's very beautiful. Thank you so much for that. And you're right. You did mention earlier that fasting is a tradition in most all religious circles. At various points, Christians fast during the Lenten season for various reasons, and they sometimes fast from food, but sometimes they fast from other things as well. So that is something that is sacred in a discipline, right? It's a spiritual discipline that really trains us to be more faithful. So a lot of people ask, like, how is this really a thing? It for people in the religious circles, fasting it trains you to better understand and focus on things that you normally wouldn't focus on when we're distracted by the things around us. Again, so Ramadan is would you call this the most highest form? Like it's the highest holiday in the for Muslims?
Sure. I mean, this is the most widely observed worship in Islam. That is the most important. You have in it many other, of course, gems such as Laylatul Qadr, Night of Power, the holiest night of Islam in there. So therefore, yes, it is the most celebrated, worship season, I guess. And like you're saying, this fasting, this being, hungry and thirsty, takes away the pleasures of the world. And I think that's a very important point, because you talk about the king of Saudi Arabia or whoever, the guy who has billions of dollars, well, he has to fast too. Or you talk about some, maybe homeless person or somebody who doesn't even have food, well, they get to fast too. So it's interesting to see the combination, whether you're the poorest, the richest, you have to, give up for God. And depending on when you are, from 11 hours to 22 hours, it's crazy for some regions, you get to really do that. And I think that means a lot to God. And there's that interesting correlation between fasting or being hungry and spirituality. And I'm personally observing that myself, because I'm just looking at myself, I'm slightly dehydrated, slightly weakened, slightly pale, correct? But then as if, like, to me, the gates of spirituality is opening up when I'm in this state. So I'm feeding my, soul more. I am depriving my body, but feeding my soul. So that is something I think is what's intended. As you do that, you feel that closeness to God, especially through, of course, reciting the Quran, being charitable to people's needs, especially in Ramadan. We have to think of others. Therefore, we had that little, campaign for San Antonio Food Bank. Mehmet, you know that. Yeah. So it's all that. It's all together. Of course, with the COVID-19, I think what we see is that the communal aspect of Ramadan is kind of lacking. It's a different Ramadan, or some says like a weird Ramadan. But yes, it's really different because we love that, you know, communal aspect, getting together. But now we cannot do that. Well, then we get to focus on ourselves, that seclusion, because Prophet Muhammad first received the Quran, which was Ramadan, by the way, in that you know, cave when he was contemplating going away from the Arab society that he would believe was really corrupt at that time, which it was in many aspects, not all aspects. But so he would just go and contemplate, and then he gets that Quran, that revelation. So this is our time to feel that, you know, Ramadan in seclusion. So I also appreciate that now coronavirus had given us, so to speak, you know.
Yeah, there's a blessing there. There's a silver lining. We do have a question from one of my co-pastors. She a little bit, we talked briefly about it, the lunar aspect of the calendar. So there is a variance of where Ramadan lands on the physical calendar. So tell us about that. How early can Ramadan be, and how late can it be in a calendar year?
So Ramadan will, you know, change, will revolve around the year, every single year, about 10, 11 days. It takes about 32 to 33 years for us to celebrate Ramadan in the same season. So lunar calendar keeps moving around, and the sighting is about the new moon, the crescent. So therefore, yes. But the good thing is that now we're moving away from summer, at least in this part of the world, which is great, because
That's great. And
it's harder in summer times.
Yeah, I live in Russia, and we fast from 2 a.m. to 10:30 p.m.
Wow, yeah, I didn't think of that. In some places around the world, some of it's really short, but then in other times it's going to be really long. Like, yeah, that's.
Yeah, I have friends in Brazil. I talked to him last week, and they break the fast like 5:30.
Yeah, so that's a little quicker than Alaska, probably, or someplace like that. Like I don't know exactly, but I didn't really think about that. If you're on the equator, it's pretty 50-50. But wow,
But there's some adjustments. I mean, if you are in a place that it's really too long, that you are not going to be able to fast like 22 hours. So scholars, they can adjust you to the closest city that is going to be easy to fast.
Right.
Well, I have a special guest with us right now. We'll bring in later, but I cannot pass this opportunity because I don't know how much time he has with us. I hope you know what's coming. So right now, we're promoting him to panelist. He's going to join us. Hopefully, he'll pop up here soon.
There you go.
Fatoor, are you there? Can you hear us? I'm screaming like I am speaking to him in Pennsylvania, like it's actually going to sound different.
Yeah, sorry. Right now, are you?
We are on. We can see you.
Yes, we see you, Imam. Hi.
Good to see you, Batula. What have you been up to lately? You know, Batula used to be the Imam at the Raindrop Turkish house. He's from Venezuela, where Manu Ginobili.
Argentina.
Argentina. What did I say? Venezuela, Argentina. Oh my gosh, I'm blanking. Look, I have him behind me right here, and I got it wrong. All right. So, huge fan of Argentina.
Back to San Antonio because my friends, they couldn't do auction the last jersey what he signed for me. I have to back for the auction.
Oh, that's great. A fun story about Batula. He is the most bold person. I mean, if somebody is in town, like I think he went to New York City and found a way, like he spent months trying to figure out how to get a ticket to see the Pope. And like he spent months like scalping tickets. Finally, he like got a hold of somebody in the Vatican who gave him a ticket to see the Pope, and you got to like shake his hand and get a blessing, and that was pretty amazing. What are you doing? Yeah,
but he knows him from Argentina, but
that's right.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. By the way, for maybe we can forget, he's inviting to all believers of the world to fast, pray, and give in charity tomorrow, 14th of May.
It's good to know.
I don't know if you received that new through the higher committee for human fraternity. There is a committee Catholic, Jewish, and Muslim organization. So yesterday he sent a message, Pope Francis, inviting to all believers of the all traditions to fast, 1 day fast, pray, and giving charity abundantly.
That's good to know, and we'll post that information again tomorrow for that.
I will send you the video. It's a 1 minute video.
So
I bet Mehmet can find it. We can probably play it. I bet we can find it by the end of the.
Yeah, let me try. And is he asking to make donation to a specific organization or any organization in your town?
No, just to do charity, you know, like sadaqah,
Yes.
you know, in our tradition, or zadaqah in Jewish tradition, it's same. Just to call in to mercy of God, the compassion of God, and you know, may God take off this pandemic from the humanity, and we unite through the fasting, through the prayer, and always the people, they are calling to pray together, but he is doing these three things together. Really, it's it's very
So
good.
back in the Lent time, Food Bank, they start a campaign, All Faith Fasting Friday.
Mhm. Nice,
So,
nice.
but we participate that one as well. Now, Raindrop, during the Ramadan every year, we collaborate with the Food Bank, and we were doing food drive and raising money for the Food Bank. So since this year we are not going to be able to come together, we open an online donation web page on Food Bank. I'm going to share in the chat section, and then anyone, if they want to do a small amount, it's not important how much you donate, but at least a small amount to contribute the Raindrop campaign to Food Bank.
You can check your message. Gabriela already sent the Pope Francis message.
Okay.
Okay, you send it over. Look at that.
Yeah.
To WhatsApp? To what?
Look at
WhatsApp or
this.
SMS.
Not
WhatsApp.
we are not separated. All right, so tell us in about 5 minutes. There it
here-
is. I knew you were going to play it. I knew you were going to show it.
Our memories from San Antonio.
Oh, look at that. You're exactly the same size.
Yeah, I say I say for Manu Ginobili, you know, in his Met community, we have one of the NBA player, Enes Kanter, and he contribute a lot to this movement, to Raindrop and the other raindrops through the world. But I say after Enes Kanter, the second contributor to Gulen movement is Manu Ginobili, because
That's awesome.
he signed for me 5 jerseys.
Oh, look at that. Yeah.
Yes,
So tell us in about 5 minutes, give us 5 minutes of your time, Batula. Tell us what you're doing now in Pennsylvania. You moved from San Antonio over a year ago, and what are you doing now in
you
Pennsylvania?
see in my hat,
Sure. We'll put it up
Yeah.
on speaker view.
respect. Do you see respect? Respect graduate school. It's my hat.
Respect Graduate School. Yeah. So tell us a little
Yes.
bit about what you're doing for that.
Yeah, I'm Imam. We have a little very nice mosque in this educational institution. It's Islamic graduate school. I'm Imam there, and I'm outreach director of the programs. So we are offering Master of Art in Islamic Studies. It's 2-year program, very good program for all the people. We don't require any other major. Any people finish 4-year major, they can do this master program. And after that, we have the Quranic Arabic program, and some academic English to do in order to do master, you know. So I'm trying to spread these programs. I'm traveling to give sermons in the mosques in different places, and I'm trying to participate the Islamic conventions. I was a couple of months ago in Houston, but it was very short time. I couldn't come to San Antonio. but I went to Toronto. I'm traveling, yeah, to spread this institution. You can search, it's respectgs.us, and you can have some program to study about Islam. So I'm continuing with my interfaith work, you know, my work and as Hizmet movement volunteer. One of our pillar, it's interfaith work. You remember a lot of times we participate with you in the Cathedral of San Antonio, San Fernando Cathedral, in MLK events or in Thanksgiving events. Same we are trying to do here to create same events here in Allentown, Pennsylvania. And I'm very close, as the institution is 30 minutes away, to Mr. Fethullah Gulen, the leader of this community. So I'm doing a lot of visits with the different faith leaders, Muslim leaders, or simple individuals who they want to know him. So it's really 1 year passed from last year. May 1st, I moved here. I start to work in this institution, but it's passing really very, very quickly the time. So I'm happy with the people here, but I'm missing my San Antonian people too. Mustafa, Gavin, Mehmet, and all. Thank you. Yeah, Mustafa is doing a hard. Yeah, my wife and my kids really they miss a lot to all the San Antonians. From here, I want to greet all my friends. I don't want to mention one, if not, maybe some people will say you don't remember, but as a couple of leaders, I can say
right.
leaders like Archbishop Gustavo Sier. I want to greet him. I want to greet Imam Shakir, and I want to give my condolences. They just lose one of the Muslim community leader. Imam Shahbaz passed away. May God grant His mercy on him.
Amen.
So Imam Atif Said from MCECC, all my friends from San Antonio, may God protect and save you from this pandemic and your families. Please stay home and follow instructions of your mayor, your leader.
Vitola, did you see that the Archbishop he flew over San Antonio in a plane to bless the city?
Yes,
I think it was yesterday, 2 days ago.
Gabriela showed me the picture. Yeah, I saw it. He's funny. He's funny.
When are you gonna fly over San Antonio, Vitola? You can fly over and bless us. Now, we are going to bring in a good friend of ours. I'm going to bring in Reverend Ann Helmke, who leads all of us knuckleheads in the Interfaith Coalition. And I'm going to bring you on here as a panelist.
While he's coming, and Gavin, there's a question in the chat section.
Yep.
The question is, I mean, it is S. Snow. I don't see the first name. If you can't fast for health reasons, can you do other things to practice Ramadan? This is the question.
Right.
Yes,
I did actually respond to that.
You respond
a few things. Yeah.
Imam Mustafa, you respond just to me.
Mustafa, tell us a little bit. Answer that question.
Okay.
You got it, Mustafa.
Okay. Well, I was just, so somebody's asking if you cannot fast for health reasons, are there other things you can do? So I was just saying that you can definitely, still feed the poor or help your, or take your fasting friends to dinner or something. So yes, there are things you can do. You can be involved in the community. But if you're not, if you cannot fast, then yes, basically, you are still in the spirit of Ramadan. Yeah, you just go to nightly prayers and go to mosque and stuff like that. Even now in San Antonio, just a couple of days ago, Islamic Center of San Antonio did open its doors to practitioners. So people actually started going to the Friday prayers and their special Ramadan prayers and all that. So it has started.
Of course, you can make up the days that you are not able to fast when you become healthy. But if it's a condition that never let you to fast, and so as Imam Mustafa, he mentioned, you can give charity for every day that you are not able to fast.
Nice. That's a very good tradition. Reverend Helmke, good to see you. Can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you, and it's good to see all of you too. And Batula, what a wonderful praise! So good to see you.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Convey my greetings to your chief to run.
I will.
Please.
I will.
Thank you.
We have a call with him tomorrow, right? We have a date. We have
Yes.
a weekly clergy conversation Ann leads with the mayor at 7:30 in the morning before the day begins, and it's a great time to catch up with him during this COVID crisis. So maybe we'll send you the email. You can surprise us there too tomorrow.
That would be great.
Yeah.
That would be great.
Ann, do you have any questions for any of our three panelists?
I do. In fact,
Okay.
I was typing one in the chat room, and that's when you said I'd have a chance. I should be thinking of a question. I'm like, well, then I'll just save it.
Good. I'm
So
glad you did.
I do. As a Christian, this is for all three of you. As a Christian, I have been really intrigued by Ramadan, and not recent. This has been kind of an ongoing thing as I've learned more about it and aware of it, and there's a lot of story behind it. But so it really caused me to think, and I have many times shared in the practice of Ramadan for the entire time, just to have the experience, because I haven't seen the fasting aspect, the way it's practiced within Christianity, with the same kind of commitment perhaps and strength. And so also coming from, the people of the book, and that fasting is a part of the Christian tradition as well. I was like, well, this is, it's not the same. And what's up with that, right? And so you'll hear conversations, about giving up chocolate for Lent, or, things like giving up TV, or giving, just what does that mean? So it really caused me to spend a lot of time researching it and then participating in it. So I have two questions. And my first question to all of you: when I have participated, each time I have learned something very significant that has spoken to my life. And so I'm wondering if any, I'm sure you have, what is one of the most significant things about life, or maybe yourself, that you have learned during a Ramadan fast?
All right. We'll start with Imam Mustafa, and then we'll go around.
Well, I was going to say, let's not start with me, but okay.
Hey, you're our lead guest. You're going first.
All right, well, let me think. I think for me, Ramadan signifies my relationship with God in a deeper sense, by me doing certain things that we're supposed to be doing, but putting a meaning into it, meaning practicing Taraweeh or reciting the Quran and all that. It's all good, but typically you want to put your heart in it. So I'm trying to intensify my presence in my doing. So this is just like a general little answer to you, but there are things that are happening, of course, to me on the spiritual level that I may not want to talk about here, especially in Ramadan. So I do see the specialty of Ramadan in connection to God. I think also observing Ramadan. This is my personal belief. I do believe that God observes Ramadan in a unique way. Therefore, we call the Ramadan actually month of God. So if this is month of God, then God he gets to do something with this month, and therefore, again, focusing on what you're really doing and trying to ask God to open some windows to you. So that's what I'm trying to do.
So let me take the question, and it's good to see you. So for me, there's not just only one particular thing that I can say through the Ramadan that I learned. Every year, I'm trying to fix something about myself. So either one year it is let me be a better reader of the Quran, and next year some things you learn. You put a goal and you learn, and something I guess through the Ramadan while you're staying thirsty, hunger, and your spirit is growing, and you feel yourself more close to the God. And my takeout is what I can take from out of the Ramadan, and not just at the time of the Ramadan, but after Ramadan I can continue. So I won't be able to fast 365 days, but at least at the time of Ramadan, I learned that when I'm praying, I can pray a little bit longer. Doesn't need to be shorter. So if I can take this one out of the Ramadan and apply to my life, so it's going to be this year's takeout from the Ramadan. So next year, I will try to better understand the people who are in need. So another year, I will try to make more charity if I can. So every year, learn something. And I don't know if our life will allow or it will be enough to fix everything. But every other year, I'm learning something new. And not just myself, not Ramadan. I also learn from my friends that are visiting our center, our friends from the people of book. So I learn a lot from you as a friend, as a mentor. I learn a lot from Sister Marta and Kirk. So the way that I learn when I see you, it teach me to go back and look at my own sources and find the good things that you have, and find the same good things in my own belief as well, and implement it to my life.
That's good. Thank you for that.
Thank you.
Yeah, Tula.
My turn.
Sure.
Of course.
Yes, dear Anne, I hope we can have same experience like you experience one day, maybe 2 days, and you realize you have the awareness when you do by your life every year. You don't realize the value of that kind of the worship. Really, this is a good question you bring us every single day. Maybe we have to see what I feel in this, what I learned in this today. But when you do every day, it's you forget sometimes the deep meaning of that. But you did maybe a couple of days every year, maybe one day, so you realize the meaning of that, how deep is, how crucial is. But I want to bring one of the important learning through the Ramadan is these gatherings. In 1994, first time, especially the interfaith gatherings. In 1994, when Fethullah Gülen in Istanbul, Turkey, in a big hotel, he invited really an organization invite, and they invite patriarch of the Greek Orthodox Church and rabbi of Istanbul, and different faith leaders in same table. It's shocked us first time, because it was not common this in Turkey. And after that, year by year, we see in Ramadan this diversity in the Muslim tables. See other faith people, and after years, I moved to Argentina, and in the Muslim community is what it is not common same, and we start to do through our work really one of the teaching what stay with me, and today we are experiencing same thing. Here is Anne, and we Muslims, we are sharing our experiences. I think maybe it's Muslim worship, but really it is interfaith experience. It's teaching us a lot, and we are building bridges between different faiths, believers. And this is very rich, really, for me.
Oh, thank you for that.
Thank you.
I do want to remind people we're watching Theology. If you're just now joining us or you're watching us on Facebook, you can join us on Zoom when we participate in our Ramadan Iftar evening meal together at around 8:20, about 15, 16 minutes. We'll do the call of prayer and then sharing a meal together with any kind of food you have around the house or food you picked up today.
We already break here in Pennsylvania.
I know you did. You already did.
God.
You cheated.
Why did you do that?
Yeah, look at my. This is. Yeah,
That's funny.
1
Now,
hour
so we'll be
difference,
breaking. We'll be breaking here in Central San Antonio time zone here in about 20 minutes. But we do have a question. And do you have one more question, Anne? Did you have one more question?
I do, but if you have other questions, you should.
No, we'll ask this one real quick, and then we'll
Okay.
conclude with
I
you,
want to
Anne.
share. Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
a reminder, do you, the people can join through the Zoom to your program?
They can watch on Facebook on Theology San Antonio's Facebook page. They can watch live, they can just be a viewer, or they can click on the Zoom link and then we can join them in.
Just one reminder, we was having this last Sunday an event, and we had attack.
Yes, we're watching that. We have somebody watching that, so we're only going to bring people in.
Be careful.
No, I have to invite them in, just like I invited you and Ann in. So we'll invite those attendees in. Uh-oh, there's a phone. Phones are going off.
Not mine.
Emergency alert. All right. So we have a question from one of our Facebook viewers, I believe Jocelyn, about the significance of the last 10 days of Ramadan. Mustafa, can you tell us a little bit about that?
Right. So the last 10 days of Ramadan are especially special because Prophet Muhammad had told us that the night of power, Laylatul Qadr, can be found in them. And he would retreat to the mosque and devote himself to God completely, especially these last 10 days, 10 nights. I mean, days too, of course, but nights. So yes, it's a strong tradition for Muslims to go to mosque. Although in this case, it's not going to be mosque, but just retreating in our homes. Technically, that would not be okay, but in this case, I guess it's okay. So you pay special attention to your getting close to God through these last, nights, because there's more, intensity is much more. Like I was trying to say, I feel like God is sweeter, kinder, and more beloved to believers in these, especially the last 10 days. So if you try to feel that would be awesome by you staying away from some of the worldly things that you would normally be doing and taking up all the time and giving it to God. This is personal,
Yes.
completely personal, completely between you and God.
And one of the prophetic saying in the hadith, the prophet, peace be upon to him, he said that look for the night of power and the last 10 days of Ramadan. So it doesn't mention which night. So that way you can spend at least 10 nights at the same way while we are looking. So it might be for you tonight, for someone else tomorrow. So no one knows when is exactly the time. This is why the last 10 days is important. You are seeking the most important night of the year.
Right, I was
Maybe-
saying that at the beginning,
maybe-
correct. So, right, that's
Yeah.
true. The holiest night.
Yeah, maybe I can share with you one of the chapter of Quran. It's about that night. I will recite that. If Mustafa or Mehmet can read the significant, the meaning of that surah, please. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. إنا أنزلناه في ليلة القدر وما أدراك ما ليلة القدر. ليلة القدر خير من 1000 شهر. تنزل الملائكة والروح فيها بإذن ربهم من كل أمر سلام. هي حتى مطلع الفجر. صدق الله العظيم. I have a nice story. You can read the meaning. The first time when we met with my wife, Gabriela, in Argentina, I recite this surah. Yeah,
To her?
because because her grandmother, she was Muslim, so when we met, she was knowing about this surah, and they asked me to recite some part of Quran, and they asked me to recite this, and after years we get married.
What is the overall paraphrase? Mustafa or anybody can paraphrase that for us?
Would you like to
it just-
read?
Yeah, just
Mustafa?
read it.
Well,
That'd be
instead
great.
of reading the whole thing, it's basically telling you that this night is better than 1,000 months in proper worship. That angels descend upon, some even call that like the night of angels. So it's a very highly, extremely anticipated night for Muslims. They look for that night. So everybody is into that. You get WhatsApp messages saying that, oh, we heard that it was actually tonight. And then there's this buzz around, oh, is it like really? But normally, technically, nobody knows. Nobody is supposed to really know that. So yes, something that we look forward to it. It's a night that we should be standing in awe of God in prayer. So very much, looking forward to that special night that we get, great blessings and all that.
That's beautiful. Thank you for both sharing the original language and also the translation
Imam.
there, paraphrasing the translation. In a few minutes, in about 8 minutes, we will break the daily fast, and so you can kind of prepare, getting your food positioned, right? And I think there is a call to prayer. We'll have Mustafa, will you lead us in that call to prayer?
I can do that, sure. Imam Baytullah can do a better job.
Well, okay.
That's not his time zone, though.
He's
right.
not fasting anymore.
That's right. So Mustafa, it's on you. So we'll.
I get to do that, I guess.
No, you get to do it, and we'll do that. We have about 8 minutes, so in the next 5 minutes, Anne, what was your last question?
So my last question in my interest to understand Ramadan and fasting more. I'm a real word person, so I look at roots of words and what they mean. And so I kind of investigated the word fast in terms of sacred scripture. And what did fast and fasting, what did the word mean? And so what I discovered is that it's much like holding tight. So it's much more like how you fasten a button on a shirt. It's that word. It's like holding onto something. And so that the time of fasting is more about what you're holding on tight to, or who, and you're able to do that more by letting go of other things, especially very basic things like eating. It allows more space. I'm wondering, because that was my own study, I'm wondering if there's anything in Islam that is like that or speaks in like manner in terms of fasting, that holding tight and letting go, to hold tight.
You know, in Islam, I actually did check for that word in Arabic in one of those Arabic dictionaries. The word is sawm for fasting, and it means abstinence. You're abstaining from anything, but typically food and drink. So typically the Arabs used to use that word for that. So it's just sawm or siyam. It's just you're abstaining from eating and drinking, or again, it could be some other activities. They also use that word for I think like a horse, when the horse gets up without eating whatever in front of him. So that's what I have about that word. Not exactly like that. So, but yeah, we take it like almost like a quarantining from the world. You know, we talk about, quarantining always. So Ramadan or fasting is our quarantining from, worldly, pleasures or just worldly things as much as possible.
Okay.
Mehmet, do you have any word in mind?
So as Mustafa, he mentioned in the Arabic meaning of fast, but for me, when you say it fast, always the patience is coming to my mind. So
Patience.
you have to be patient to the whole day. You have to keep yourself away from the food, to the drink, and all of the bad things that you might do in a normal time. But the fasting is keeping you away from them. So as Anne she said, it keeps you fast. It ties you to your beliefs. So it doesn't let you to act what you do in a normal time, because it reminds you are fasting. So even again, a prophetic saying, he said, if someone wants to argue with you or fight with you, tell them that you are fasting. Don't do anything, just tell them that you are fasting. And this fasting will remind yourself as well that you don't allow to argue or fight. And it will remind the other side as well to stay away from that what they are doing.
Nice. You know, one of my very first memories of hearing the word Ramadan, right? I'm gonna allow y'all to guess, Mehmet or Mustafa. I was living in Houston, Texas, in the 80s and early 90s, right? And this would always come up once a year, obviously once a year for Ramadan, but during a particular basketball season. How do you think I learned about Ramadan? Can you just guess?
Mehmet Okur?
No. From
Ramadan in?
No, Hakeem Olajuwon would do the
Oh,
Ramadan
yes.
fast.
Yeah. Of course.
Hakeem Olajuwon, one of the greatest basketball players of all time.
He would fast.
And he would fast. And in some years, his numbers were the best during the Ramadan fast. And so they called him like the Ramadan. It was like the rodeo. We do better during the rodeo road trip. for the Rockets in the early 90s, they would do better during the Ramadan fast when Akeem Olajuwon was participating in the discipline. And that's when I first learned about that tradition, was through Akeem Olajuwon. So I had to throw that in there because when I was, growing up in the Woodlands, Texas, you don't hear it often. And so I remember that and thinking, that's pretty cool. Like, that's something that meant a lot to me because I learned something in a discipline and it actually improved somebody's life. And when he was talking about it, sometimes he couldn't even break the fast. He was in the middle of a basketball game, so he couldn't even get home to eat until really much later than the fast would allow. And he would stay faithful for it all during the basketball seasons. And he's not obviously not the only athlete that has to deal with those type of
that amazes me. For someone who's fasting for at least 30 years. I mean, like playing and that much effort and sweat and all that. I can't really like fathom somebody fasting like that. Just blows my mind.
No, yeah, it's kind of special to me. I love Akeem Olajuwon. I know I'm a Spurs fan now for the last 15 years, but originally I loved Akeem Olajuwon and the Rockets when they were good for a little bit in the early 90s. So we are here close. It's 8:19. We'll allow people to get ready for the call of prayer. If you do not want to be joined, if you don't want to join in, you're watching this on Zoom and you're like, hey, I don't want to be brought in on the screen, just tell me that in the chat, and we won't bring you in for our shared meal together here coming up. And then during our shared meal, we'll share some of those videos that you had, Mehmet, and we'll bring back Batula and some of the videos that he maybe recommended. So we'll just keep going, but we'll just now do it together. And we've never done this before. We've always had a panelist mode in Pub Theology Online the last 8 weeks. So it's something new. It's okay to mess up, and but if you say anything that's foolish, we will kick you out. So that's just a word of warning.
Every night we get a date.
There it is. Nice.
You get a date.
Yeah, Mehmet, you reminded me, if I'm ever in a fight, I'm going to tell them I'm fasting. That's a good. If I ever get when I'm in downtown San Antonio, I'll be like, I'm fasting. All right. Well, Mom, can you? Is it appropriate now to start the
is it time now? Let me see.
Let me check.
For me, it just sunsets. If sun has set, then I take that. For some Muslims, they add a couple of minutes, but I think it is time now.
All right,
let me go to. Yeah. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah. Ashhadu anna Muhammadar Rasulullah. Ashhadu anna Muhammadar Rasulullah. Hayya ala as-salah. Hayya ala as-salah. Hayya ala al-falah. Hayya ala al-falah. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. La ilaha illallah. And I typically say a little prayer and, try to remember everybody, especially in these tough times for the folks who don't have, the food that we have on the table. So I try to remember everybody, say a little prayer for a couple of minutes, and then I break my fast.
Yeah, especially in these moments, the people who is suffering from the COVID-19 in the jails of Istanbul, a couple of congressmen, they are putting in their Twitter, they are trying to acknowledge this situation. The political prisoners, they are still in the jails and unfortunately in very bad conditions. So we pray for them too, and may God give wisdom the current administration of Turkey to not kill these people normally they release all the people from the jails in Turkey, but right now all the political prisoners like journalists and academicians, they are still in jail. They give them the freedom.
Thank you for that. And our prayers are with everybody in San Antonio right now. Our prayers are with all the healthcare workers on the front lines of this thing, spending countless nights and days. Sometimes they're removed from their families and spending and sleeping in hotels or places where they can stay safe to continue serving people in the hospitals. Very lonely sometimes. And, the Thunderbirds flew over San Antonio today, so that was kind of fun. And so that was also a tribute to all those healthcare workers out there in San Antonio. And for those people we've lost and are suffering severely from the COVID crisis and the disease. We are
really extraordinary effort what the healthcare people they are doing. May God bless them, all these people. They are loyal to their oaths, what they did in the beginning when they started did that job. I hope all other people can do their oaths too. The politicians, the other people too. Really, it's extraordinary. It's what they are doing. All the doctors, the first time.
Yes.
Sometimes I see among my neighbors, very valuable people. My God, may God bless them and may God protect them.
All right, thank you. So again, we are here at Theology with some great leaders of the Raindrop Turkish House. Also a former Imam at the Raindrop Turkish House, Fatula, all the way from Allentown, Pennsylvania. Isn't that a song from Bruce Springsteen? Isn't that like an Allentown song?
There's a song about Allentown.
Yeah, well, we can rock to it. All right. Well,
I don't know. Please send me. I don't know that one.
Oh, come on. All right. So we're going to bring some people on. And if you don't want to be on, and I actually do, I saw Michael, we'll keep you as a listener. So we're going to bring in Pastor Vogt and other people here.
This is Benjamin. He's greeting to San Antonio people. Say assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum.
I'm going to try to do this right here. I hit the wrong button, I think.
Hola Benjamin.
Hola.
¿Cómo estás?
¿Cómo
Bien, gracias.
Happy Ramadan.
Happy Ramadan.
Thank you.
So, would you like me to share the music?
Yeah, but if it's not too loud, I don't want to blast people out. Keep the volume somewhat. We want to be talking here.
Do you need anything else from me? I didn't pray the fourth prayer. My time, 1 hour. I'm if I need to back, or I can say goodbye.
No, you can just pause yourself. You can mute yourself and do what you need to do, and join us anytime. We won't be offended at that.
Okay. I will go to pray.
All right, great. Well, guys, y'all can get your meals together. Pastor Eric, what do you have to eat with us today?
Pastor Valerie and I did go by the Turkish grill, and they hooked us up. So it looks really good. I'm trying to see if I can get. Here we go. Food picture.
Nice.
Yeah.
Mustafa, look, Mehmet's family cooked me a meal. He also gave me a date for tonight. Look at that. He hooked me up with a date. So
Well done.
nice. All right. Well, I hope everybody else who's on wants to be on. You can turn on the video if you want. If you don't want to be on, oh, look at that. We can play that video right now. That's just the music playing. I don't think I hear it. I can see it. Oh, now I can hear the music. I can hear it, yeah.
So usually we welcome our guests at Raindrop in Ramadan with the songs. So hopefully we can do it again.
Nice. Tell us a little bit about who's playing, Mehmet.
So who is playing? This is our group orchestra. Actually, we missed one player. He is in DC right now. This is Raindrop Ensemble. So at Ramadan we play Jewish, Muslim, and Christian hymns. Now we have a Sufi hymn which is playing. But other than Ramadan, we play ethnic and folk music. And we sing in more than 10 different languages. So
Nice.
we are open to the invitations. If you invite us, if it's a non-profit, the members of the orchestra, they are more than welcome to join you.
Nice. You
So
play
about-
often?
About the group, our director, he's Jewish. And it's not just Turkish people. We have Muslims, Christians, Hindu, Buddhists.
And I do have to make a correction. Susan Snow reminded us that Billy Joel sang Allentown, not Bruce Springsteen.
Okay.
We messed up a few fun facts tonight. No, Ginobili is obviously from Argentina, not Venezuela, and Billy Joel sang Allentown. Those are our corrections for Pup Theology.
Way to
tonight.
go, Susan.
Yeah, way to drop it. Eric,
Hashtag facts.
Eric, do you have any questions for our guest panelists, at least Mehmet or Mustafa, if he's still on with us?
Well, I'm just so grateful for the hospitality that y'all have extended. It was great to be with you in person last year. And as y'all were saying, this is kind of like we had weird Lent and Easter. This is weird Ramadan in a way, but I'm glad that we can share even this way. I'm thankful for the way that Raindrop thinks about its mission in interfaith dialogue. And I guess I wonder what y'all have learned or what are some repeated things that have come up because of all the iftar meals that you've hosted with so many different people in San Antonio. You've been doing it for I don't know how many years, but yeah, what are some of the things that have come out of those conversations?
So we call it sharing your faith, and it was 5 years ago when we first start. I asked all of our guests, so it's not just one way, let's do it 2 ways. Now Ramadan is holy time for us, but we will be happy to join you in your holidays as well. So it's gonna be, let's say, 5 years. We are breaking fast with the Temple High at Yom Kippur. We are joining them, or Temple Bethel at Hanukkah or Sukkot. Laurel Heights United Methodist Church or University Presbyterian Church in different occasions when it is Christmas or Book of Carols. So it teaches us that we all of us, you don't need to have a fear to learn from the others. You can go and join them, and we all are praying in different languages. We maybe use different names, but at the end of the day, we all are praying and worshiping the same God. Especially it's the same for the Abrahamic traditions. I recently learned that one and also she mentioned about the people of book. So one of the well-known scholars, he said people of book, most people, it's not just the Jewish people and Christians. Some other nations that live in the Middle East and at the time of the Prophet, they are also part of the people of book. And at the time of the Prophet and after Prophet, they had some privilege as well. So to not just the Abrahamic traditions, but we can extend it to all religions and open a place in our heart to each other. And I am sure there is a lot of things we can learn from each other. And if you go back and look at our own source, we will see that we have something similar.
Amen. Well, thank you all for all you do. I am always grateful when we can connect with Travis Park Church and you all. I was so blessed. I think you, Mehmet, sent me or us a card. Maybe it was either for Easter or Christmas, but I was really touched to receive that, and was also really touched. You were one of the first people that I saw there on the Sunday morning after our roof collapse. You were out there serving breakfast tacos. I think you'd gotten there earlier than I did. And
That sounds like Mehmet.
that was a kind of holy day. It was a difficult day, difficult time for Travis Park Church, but it was a holy time, and I'm thankful for you specifically and all of you sharing in that with us.
No, that was awesome. I did. I remember I flew back from Mexico, and the first person I saw too was Mehmet early in the morning, serving cortisone and then staying around. Mehmet, now I got your food here that your wife cooked. Tell us what this is right here.
Oh, it is a Sultan's special.
Something special. That's what it's called.
Sultan, the
Oh,
Sultan.
Sultan special.
Yes.
Okay.
So there is a story. I don't know. It is just a story or something true behind it. So
Sure.
the chef, the king, the Sultan asked him to cook something special for him, and he said, "Okay, what can I do?" He has everything. So eggplant.
Yes,
It's
got
roasted.
that.
Yeah, at the bottom it's roasted eggplant, and there's a special sauce. I'm gonna turn to my wife, but she
Yeah,
said
bring her
that-
on. Bring her on. Here, this is great. I'm gonna show you. I'm gonna try to put it on my video here. I don't know how I
Yes.
can get back on.
He sent you. He bring you food. Gave
He
it?
did.
No, it was illegal. We met someone where at the
Yeah,
dance
it was
club.
like a drug deal. We met in the back of a HEB.
Oh my God.
How are you? Tell us,
Good,
tell
how
us,
are you?
tell us what this is.
Just Mehmet said, Sultan's dish,
Yep.
Sultan's special dish. So I cooked the beef with some vegetables on the top in one pan, and then they cooked the other side, the bottom part. It's roasted eggplant with a special sauce. We say bechamel sauce. I don't know in English. I can't remember right now. Do you want me to explain how to?
Sure. We have time.
Okay.
I have my next tray next, so we'll go through this whole thing together.
Since I couldn't taste when I was cooking, I think it needs a little bit more salt, the bottom part.
Okay. I'm going to explain something to you. This is 10 times better than my best time cooking. Like, so I would never know if it needs more salt. This is the nicest thing I usually eat. So thank you for that. Here, we're trying to get back.
The other food is tortilla. I cook something with tortilla.
Okay.
Uncooked tortilla. During Ramadan, we eat ravioli a lot, Turkish ravioli. So this is the easy kind of like mixed Turkish and Mexican kind of type of ravioli. We call kind of fake ravioli, tortilla ravioli. So
yeah, it is the marriage of Mexican cuisine and the Turkish cuisine.
Wow.
So tortilla join with the mante or ravioli and become tortilla mante.
yeah, there's ground beef inside and the yogurt sauce on the top with the
Yeah, I'm going to try to
color.
show people here again. I'm going to put it on speaker view here. There it is. It looks
So
uh-oh.
that's hünkâr beğendi in Turkish.
Which one?
Uh-huh.
Now we have this. I'm going to go to speaker view. So, am I on? I can't tell.
Yeah,
I think Zoom does this thing where you have to like acknowledge. There it is. So there, I lost you again. Let's see. I'm going to keep talking and see if it goes. All right, hold on. Can you see me? I guess we can do this view. Right now, what is this right here?
I'm muted.
Yeah, I got you. I figured it out.
Tamam. So
All right.
that's inside. It's ground beef,
Got it.
tomato, pepper, mozzarella cheese inside. I rolled the uncooked tortilla with that. Everything is cooked inside, so I put it in the oven and then slice it. On the top, homemade yogurt with garlic and tomato paste with butter.
That's amazing.
That's my Ramadan special menu for you and for
Oh my
ourselves.
gosh, it's so good. I feel like I should share. I can't share through the TV, but and then I know what these are.
Oh, sarma.
Yes, I do know the grape leaves. They're amazing.
Enjoy.
My neighbor in the Woodlands, Texas, grew grape leaves, and she would make this for us all the time. So I do remember having this as a young kid. Her name was Sharon Lee, and she would grow these, and she would make them really well.
We have that too.
You're welcome. I just
Mustafa,
looked at-
yeah,
I
go
want to
ahead.
say
No, go
something.
ahead.
This year, Ramadan is way different than we used to have. We used to have our friends over in our house, or we always share our meal with somebody. We never like stay by ourselves at home and eat our dinner. Thank you so much. Today, this program just made it very special for us because I was able to share my food with our friends, and I felt great when I was cooking. Thank you. I just want
Well,
to
no, thank you. Now I'm going to host
Yeah.
Pup Theology Ramadan every day. So then you have to come over and bring me food. I'm just going to,
I have no
extend this
problem with that.
we're going to extend this Ramadan special to the remaining days of Ramadan, at least. No, the food is amazing. Mustafa, what are you eating today?
I am eating this great, I don't know, what do you call this? But I had some community members actually dropping by and then bringing some food for me because I qualify. I'm a single guy. Therefore, I am to be taken care of. So they take care of me. And that's awesome. So really, about maybe 7, 8 times, I think, at least, I got food from, people. So this is how they are taking care of each other. They're just bringing food to us. So I appreciate that. And this is really awesome. We
But
call this
they
börek in Turkish.
They don't care the married imams. Imam.
No.
Hey,
Yes, you're not qualified. Sorry.
Mustafa, we'll go. We're both single clergy people here in San
Yes.
Antonio. We can go to movies together. We'll go. We'll hit the town.
There you go. There you go.
Yeah, Gavin, let me share one thing. So
Sure.
today, my wife, she even had to clean the house. Like we will have real guests are coming, and she cooked all this food. Usually we have just one dish. We don't cook that much. So maybe one dish and the side salad. That's all.
Well, I am grateful, and it's wonderful. I'm also gonna share. Y'all gave me this magnet.
Yes.
And these are magnets, I
Who's
guess.
this?
And this is I don't know how you spell or say his name.
He's Rumi.
Rumi.
Yeah,
This is-
Rumi. Yes, Rumi. Mevlana is the Turkish name of him. So he's Rumi. It's Rumi.
Yeah, he was a philosopher, in about 1218. Wow, and he's worldwide famous. He died in 1273. In his book, how do you say his book's name?
I cannot
Mishnah?
see. Oh, now Mustafa is active.
It's okay. We're gonna if you wanna join us, you can join us for the last few minutes here. Just put it in your name in your chat, and we'll throw you on. I want to bring back Reverend Helmke.
Yeah,
to
there's
close-
Gavin, there's a question in the chat
Go ahead.
asking about the halal and the kosher foods.
Got it.
Yes, so the halal is the Muslim version of the kosher. We have some similarities, but some differences as well. So we don't eat pork, and the meat. When it comes to the meat, the animal needs to be sliced in a certain way, and then if we don't drink alcohol as well. Some they drink, but if the food has cooked with alcohol, we don't eat that one as well.
Like the cupcakes.
So when it comes to halal, it's the food side, but your earnings needs to be also halal. So it's just not the food. The way that you live, everything needs to be at that way. So your earnings needs to be through a real and legitimate source. So selling drugs or stealing, so your income is not going to be halal. So this is another aspect of the halal.
Nice. So it's not only what you eat, it's what you practice
Yes.
to be halal.
Yeah.
That's a beautiful idea. And again, Reverend Helmke mentioned this earlier. Oftentimes in the Christian traditions I see, when it comes to fasting, I know it maybe in generations in the previous, they've taken it very seriously, but I feel like Christianity right now does not take those disciplines as seriously. And hopefully we can get back to those type of things, not only practicing our fasting through what we eat or what we consume, but also living our life as a respectful fast. Today I can tell you, Mehmet, I did not deal any drugs. So I think I'm living to that. I am drinking Mexican Coke though, instead of beer for Pup Theology. I wanted to respect our guests, and so I'm slamming down some Coke. I'll be up all night, but it's okay.
Good.
Reverend Helmke, can we bring you back in? I'm going to bring her back in to close this out. And if anybody else wants to join us and say a few party words, just text me in the chat there. So if any of our attendees want to join us, we'll bring everybody back in.
So an invitation when we go back to the normal, when the city will allow us to meet at Raindrop, we are going to post another invitation to Facebook or Pop Theology. And then since we are not able to eat the same food tonight, but that time I will be happy to provide the same food to all of us, and we will gather around the same table and eat together.
No, that's really good. Thank you for that, because Mustafa and I are single, so we'll take any invitation to eat food, and that's in a nice place. Pastor Eric, I want you to say some parting words for us too toward the end here. But before we do that, I do want to plug a few more Pup Theologies. Next week for Pup Theology, we have President Danny Anderson, the president of Trinity University, that will be joining us, along with the SISD board president, Patty Radel, along with education reporter Emily Donaldson from the Rivard Report. We're going to be talking about education and how colleges and our schools are transitioning during this time in the summer, but how they're going to kick back up in the fall, and what does this look like for the last 7 months, educationally speaking. We've also put out an invitation to Pedro Martinez, the superintendent. So next week we'll have a good educational forum that will be posted later tonight. And you can watch all of our past Pup Theologies that we've gone online on our Facebook page or YouTube channel. And I want to say thank you to Pastor Chad at the Arsenal Church for allowing us to have this kind of studio where I can better control what's going on. And that's always very helpful to every one of us. So that's what's going on. But before that, before we have our concluding remarks, I do want to go around the room, Mehmet, and introduce your family if it's appropriate. Now, this is going on live, so I don't want to break any type of trust here with children. But if they want to say hi, what is your name?
Netta.
Netta, we've met before. Nice to meet you. Thank you for tuning in to this broadcast.
So Neda, she's fasting every other day, and
Gotcha.
today she fasted, and
Yes.
yesterday she didn't, and tomorrow we will go to zoo, and then she says she will fast today, so tomorrow it won't be hard for her.
Okay, good. Are you eating the same thing? Are you eating the what you prepared for me?
Yes, exactly the same what you are eating.
That makes sense. Now, again, go to your beautiful bride. There you are.
Hi, my name is Neil.
Nice to meet you. Are you having a good dinner with your family?
Yes.
What's your favorite out of the 3 things your mom prepared? What's your favorite out of the dishes she's prepared today?
Kira's pizza.
And remind me, that is Is it this?
Okay, so my mom also made pizza.
So of course I cook for
Oh.
them pizza.
You cheated. You cheated.
And
That's so good. Pizza's pretty cool too.
That's their
It was
favorite.
And
frozen.
cherries. I just got some cherries from HEB today too. That's great.
Oh, Mehmet too.
My favorite, I have to admit, it's all pretty good, but my favorite is the Sultan dish.
It's my favorite as well.
Yeah, that's pretty good. All right, we're gonna bring Pastor Ann back in. So she's I want her to say some remarks as well. So I'll give her some time. Along with Mustafa, if he can come back in and join us for this conclusion of Pub Theology with great leaders from the Raindrop Turkish house. I sometimes say that the Rainbow Turkish house, which I still think is lovely, because that's basically what y'all are in San Antonio, is this giant rainbow of love, right? So, and we'll wait for, well, now Mehmet's gone. Look, we'll get everybody back in. We'll have all 6 of us here.
Santiago is here. He wants
Oh,
to.
Santiago, oh my gosh, you're so much bigger.
Yes, sir.
How old
Here.
are you? How old are you, Santiago?
I'm 11.
Wow.
Yeah,
I'm
May.
I'm in 6th grade.
Yeah, May 30. He will be 12.
Do you miss San Antonio?
Yeah, a lot.
That's all right. You're in a good place.
Mhm.
Allentown. Allentown doesn't have the Spurs though.
Yeah.
Can you tell them your fasting experience?
Started, um,
Oh, look, there we are. We're connecting old friends here at Pub Theology. It's what we like to do.
Yeah,
Oh, you can go back. You can go back. There it is. Spend some time here. We'll give you some space. Y'all talk. Y'all talk.
That's all, I guess.
You don't have any questions for your old friend in Pennsylvania?
Ramadan.
All right, go ahead. Go ahead,
Yeah.
Batula.
He's saying Ramadan Mubarak. He's saying Ramadan Mubarak.
All right.
Okay. Would you? Huh? Say.
So at the beginning of my fasting, it was I didn't think it was gonna be that easy,
Sure.
and when it was getting to the end, I was getting more and more hungry, but I managed to get to the end without eating, and as the days went by, it turned sort of into a routine, so it wasn't as bad. Like you get used to it.
Nice. Yeah, you do get used to it.
Yeah, you do. It turns into a habit.
That's good. And it's a good habit to have. And you got a good person there with you to help you along the way. Both your parents are wonderful people.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much, everybody.
Hey, no, thank you for making our day and connecting old friends.
Good to see you, Santi. So good to see you.
He's wearing Carl Wonky Elementary School from San Antonio.
Oh, nice. Repping San Antonio all over the place tonight. Well, we miss
Loyalty.
you. When you're back, you have to come eat a meal with us. Well, all of us will get together and share a good meal.
You did our day, man.
That's good. Good. Well, Reverend Ann, before we'll conclude with Eric and Reverend Ann, and any closing thoughts that you have about the, Ramadan and these guys that are with us around the table?
Well, I just have so much gratitude for the Muslim presence in San Antonio and what it adds to the richness of who we are, but also just the amazing example. And I think of charity, especially now, but and the Raindrop Turkish house, we've just, even in these last weeks, we've been doing these donation drives in terms of face mask and I tell you, the Muslim community has really stepped up, and I just a lot of gratitude for the leadership that's provided by our Muslim community. And so I'm grateful for that. And I just want to offer blessings to not just everybody on this screen, but I really think this time has given us also the opportunity to know the deep richness and value of relationship. And how tender and important closeness is when we're able to be together. So in a way, where COVID has provided us with this kind of collective fasting of distancing and letting go, in a sense, of that. And I don't know about the rest of you, but I have felt more closeness of heart in this process. And so to offer those kind of blessings, and especially to those who are suffering tonight. And so gratitude and blessings. So
Thank you.
Thank you.
Reverend Hamke. I do want to tell you, if Mustafa can jump back on here. Yeah. Tell us a little bit about what you did at the food bank and how y'all helped.
So Mehmet was the initiator of that great
Making
effort.
me cry, Anton. Sorry. All right, keep going.
So I was just saying that it was actually Mehmet really initiating that food donation to San Antonio Food Bank, especially after seeing, of course, the images of thousands of people getting in line. It just broke our hearts. We are a small community. We were not able to do much, but at least it's the intention that I think matters a lot. So thank you, Mehmet, for initiating that. Yes, we have to. Ramadan's communal aspect, inviting people over, is somewhat gone, but that money, those resources should be shared with the people who do not have that. So we're encouraging still to this day, our community members to give more.
Well, I can tell you this: when it's acts of love, I don't care how small or big the community is, it's all huge, right? These acts are big and they mean matter. It's huge for somebody who receives that food. It's huge for a family that has been struggling and their parents have been laid off. It's huge for those kids to receive that. I don't think any of this stuff is small. So what you did was very large in acts of love and what you could contribute. There's an old parable Jesus says that a lot of people were giving and tithing to the temples or the religious communities, but there was one woman who was homeless. She gave a small penny or a denarii or some small coin, and Jesus says about that woman that she gave more than anybody else combined, right? Because all she gave was what she has. So all of us, no matter how small of what we think it might be, it's actually huge in the eyes of our God. So
yeah, in that sense, Prophet Muhammad says, even with the half of the one date, do charity, because if it's part of your life, you do every day. Imagine everybody do just $1 charity. Imagine in the world. So we don't have the hunger in the world, but unfortunately we don't do maybe daily base. We do sometimes, so we forget the people who is in need, in necessity. May God give us the wisdom to learn through this pandemic to do empathy with the people who they are suffering. This is UN numbers. 20,000 people by year, they are dying from the hungry in the world. Hungry, 20,000, and we are enough to help to these people in the world. Really, our number is big, but we forget these teachings of the Jesus, Muhammad, Moses. Do these charities, these practices every day base, not just in Ramadan or in special day. May God through this pandemic give us really to be a human really in the world. Thank you for inviting me, Gavin.
Oh, thank you. And I do want to pass it off to my leader of our congregation, Pastor Book, to say a few closing words.
Well, I just want to reiterate a lot of what Ann said and say thank you. Thank you for all you do, and thank you so much for sharing this time. There's something special, I think, about sharing meals. And I know Pub Theology tries to bring together different views and different brews, but I'm just grateful for any ways that we can get around a table together and talk about our similarities and talk about our differences and be together. I think that's really important. So yeah, Ramadan Mubarak. Thank you. And,
Thank you.
There's something I think Mustafa said earlier that struck me specifically in this time of pandemic, as Ann, you were saying, as Batula, you were saying. He said something like, whether you're the king of Saudi Arabia or you're homeless on the street, fasting is the same. And I think those kinds of acts of solidarity are so much what we need right now. And so for any way that we're, I think, practicing simplicity for the sake of sharing, I'm really grateful. So thanks for this opportunity.
Well, thank you, Pastor Eric. And thank you for allowing us, Pastor Eric gives us the opportunity and allows my time to be used for something crazy as Pub Theology. And so I'm also grateful that the Travis Park Church allowing us to do this and taking risks all the time and the things we do. So real fast, I want to take it back to Mehmet real fast, to your wife. I got one more question for her. Can you turn it around?
Okay. Yes, it was hard to keep the kids.
It's okay. That's the joy of breaking a fast. All right. Now is this a dessert right here?
Yes, it is.
What is it?
Katayif.
What's in it?
It's shred pillow with lots of butter and walnut inside. After I cooked it, I pour the syrup. It's kind of baklava.
Is it better warm or cold?
Cold.
Okay, then it's good. Then I'll eat it.
Yeah.
Now,
enjoy.
thank you for that. And you're my hero today. Don't turn it around, Mehmet. I'm not.
Okay, I'll come.
She's coming to the side.
Okay. Thank you for all you do. Mehmet would not be who he was without your presence in his life.
Yeah, of course. Without her support, nothing.
Yeah, you're a beautiful soul, and every time I see you, the room lights up because of your presence. So thank you, and I'm grateful to you just because you didn't have to do this for me, and I thank you. So thank you for that, and stay right there. Don't move. Mustafa, everybody's going to go around the room. Can you kind of end with a blessing for us tonight?
I was just going to say that I was going to thank you, Gavin, and Pastor Eric for the opportunity for this hospitality. And, first time being able to actually allow me to eat in front of people and cameras, like a Zoom meeting kind of stuff.
It is kind of weird, but it's good.
Yeah, never had that before. So that's a unique experience. Thank you for that too. I don't know when next time I will be having that. Also, Pastor, for Reverend Ann, thank you for having a bleeding heart. I think it's a big deal. We should all have that. I would just invoke God to, keep us having meetings like this, as much as possible. Just like Pastor Eric, did you ask about that? Like, gatherings at Raindrop House? So I was just going to say that my takeaway is that we are just God's people, just one humanity, and we all pray differently or sing differently and all that, but we are together. I think this is what matters to God a lot. The fact that we can get together as people of different faiths, but just one humanity. I think that this is a pleasing scene for God to see. So I think that was the most important part or aspect for me, to see people gathered like that. So I think this is just one of them. It's just like a virtual Zoom version of that, but I think still I can see God's good pleasure in this. So thank you, and may God bless your activities and the things that you do, for this end. So thank you all again.
Oh, thank you. Again, what a beautiful night. You know, some of the most best pub theologies in my book is when true community happens. What's been great about this online version of pub theology, a lot of people get to see it. Thousands of people watch these videos now, and we're going to try to figure out how to continue to do that. But what I miss the most about pub theology, that's kind of unlike going to hear a speaker at a large event that that San Antonio has often. You can actually go and hang out and speak to a community leader or a clergy person, somebody that's been doing good work in San Antonio, an author, and actually kind of be in close proximity with those leaders and share ideas. We've learned about some things that have come out of pub theology. Erica Prosper told us a few weeks ago that after she spoke about grandparents, the power of grandparents in our lives, we hosted one a few years ago, that a group came to her that night and created an event where she got to lead and share and create an organization that supports grandparents in San Antonio. And she says it wouldn't have happened without the small community that was gathering at Pub Theology that night. So when I hear those stories, I never know what's going to come from it. And the whole idea was that 4 years ago when I met with Jody Newman and thought about this idea, we just said, let's meet around a picnic table. And we thought that's all it might be, is just go hang out with a community leader around a picnic table. And this is our picnic table tonight, and I'm grateful for that. And I'm grateful for the time and the surprise for Batula, the great words of wisdom from both of our imams here with us today. This beautiful family with Mehmet.
Go Spurs, go.
The beautiful Ann Humpke, and who has got a new hairdo, nice hairdo. Look at that. Like a COVID cut.
COVID cut.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, and Pastor Eric, thanks for being with us. We're going to try to, now I got to figure out how to end this live stream. I went off the page, so now I got to figure out how to end this thing right. So give me a second here. Can we get, Mehmet, did you find that video that you wanted to play, Batula?
Pope Francis,
yeah, I sent it to your WhatsApp, and I sent to Mehmet too.
All right, well, Mehmet, can you pull that up for us? While I'll try to look for this, can you try to play that video for us?
Yeah, it's the calling of Pope Francis for tomorrow, fasting, praying, and doing charity for all humanity.
All right.
Yeah, we really, if you can share, will be good if you can share in your social media too.
We'll see if we can get it. You think you can get it, Mehmet?
I found it, but it doesn't show in my share screen.
Mm-hmm. You know, last year, Pope Francis met in Abu Dhabi, with the president of Al Azhar University from Egypt. It was I think the most important interfaith Catholic Muslim interfaith event in the history of humanity. I think one of the most important meeting it was, and it was the anniversary of the Sultan Al Malik and Saint Francis meeting. It was about anniversary. So and they built a community, and through that community they are inviting to all religions.
Right.
To it's here.
All right, there it is. Let's play. We can expand it, and then after that we'll say our goodbyes. And look at that, Pope
Thank
Francis, the best friend of Batula.
Thank you.
Anne, bunu öğretmenine verecek misin? No. Anne.
And I think we lost the sound, Mehmet. You get to unmute yourself. There you go.
Yeah,
There we go.
yeah. You have the voice of the Pope Francis. It's 1 minute video. Whenever you have, you can share in your Facebook, in your Instagram accounts. But this is different. This is different video.
Oh, it's a
What
different video. We were playing the wrong one.
Yeah. No, I send you just Pope Francis just 1 minute.
Can you send it on the chat? We'll play it.
What Baytullah he sent it to me.
On top of satisfying all your users' needs.
No, I'm sending you here that one.
That was a good video too.
Yeah, it was yeah, a little here. It's coming. Just 1 second. Mehmet, you have right now because that one I think Gabriella sent you. I sent to Gavin. Do you have right now my video, Mehmet?
I think we get it. We'll get it going here.
Yeah, you have to. I think or I can do directly. I can share it from my. 1 second.
The technical breakdowns here at Pup Theology.
Wow.
We'll be all right.
Mm-hmm.
We can just play it later. It's okay. But Matt, can you think thumbs up if you can make it work? You're on mute, so
Let me check. He said he sent it. I need to find.
Start broadcast. Okay. Here is coming.
Oh wow! You can do this on your phone. Look at that.
È un valore
You hear
universale.
it?
You hear it?
E poiché la preghiera è un valore universale, ho accolto la proposta dell'Alto Comitato per la Fratellanza Umana affinché il prossimo 14 maggio i credenti di tutte le religioni si uniscano spiritualmente in una giornata di preghiera, digiuno e opere di carità, per implorare Dio di aiutare l'umanità a superare la pandemia del coronavirus. Ricordatevi, 14 maggio, tutti i credenti insieme, credenti di diverse tradizioni, per pregare, digiunare e fare opere di carità.
Yeah, this is the.
It's beautiful. So that reminds us for all faiths on May 14th to be praying for one another as a sign of solidarity and respect. And that's hopefully a small part what we did tonight. And so I want to thank everybody here today, Reverend Ann, Reverend Volk.
And Baytullah, he shared all of my information.
Yeah, yeah, we saw that. Well, he shared it. So, guys, thanks for being here. Have a wonderful day. And we're going to end this live part real fast. And so everybody wave, say goodbye.
Goodbye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Guys, good night.